What is up, everyone? Welcome to the FAA podcast. Not as long of a show today. I can almost promise you that. Maybe we'll see. See how long it takes to get through the preseason games. But yeah, good to have Jimmy back. Conference USA FBS Independence today on the preseason previews here. FBS Independence they're dying out. We lost Army this year, and they went to Conference US or to the American. So yeah, we 3 left, and Notre Dame will continue to be one because they like being that. So start on preseason week 2. Pretty good weekend of games. A lot of knowledge gained, I think, from a lot of the position battles, and it's getting that time, man. Mid-August, we are in fantasy mode. I know ESPN's Fantasy Football Marathon starts in a couple hours on ESPN, so 27 straight hours for them from 7 p.m. tonight. I know I've already had one draft. It was a free league, so it was pretty, there's a bunch of auto drafters as well, but I thought my team was pretty stacked. Anyways, Ravens 13-12 over the Falcons. Falcons screwed me on this one, man. I had Falcons money line, and Taylor Heineke for one sucked. I was the reason I picked Falcons money line was I was expecting Penix to play. I didn't expect them to sit a freaking rookie that was going to be the backup. So I expected Penix to play. Plus, the Ravens quarterbacks had played like crap last week against the Eagles. And, of course, Josh Johnson comes out, plays like freaking Tom Brady. And the Ravens win it by 1. But, we had a chance. John Paddock got them down the field at the end, and they couldn't get the 2-point conversion. They ran it. I'm like, bro, why are you running it? Why are you running it on a Ravens defense that's, for one, good against the run? I don't care what level of players they are on the depth chart. That's day one Ravens football on defense. They stop the run. And 2, bro, throw it. It's a quarterback league. So, yeah, I was very annoyed that they ran the ball from the 2-yard line on the 2-point conversion instead of throwing it. And plus, I think you can just do so many more things on a throwing 2-point conversion play, unless you have the best backs in the league, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, Derrick Henry, those type of guys. I would never run the ball in 2-point conversion. I think it's stupid. Or if it's a read option. If it's a read option, I can see that. But we saw how that worked for Pittsburgh on their 4th down conversion. So, but yeah, so I don't know. The Ravens, it's going to be preseason week 3. I would expect, I don't know if they're going to play their starters or not, but I would expect they should play Josh Johnson again, or at least I would if I'm Coach Harbaugh. I would play Josh Johnson again. I would play Devin Leary again. Emory Jones, actually, it was interesting. He got more work than Devin Leary in this game, which was really weird. And they did an Eagles thing that the Eagles did on Thursday. They put Emory Jones in second. Leary came in for a drive, and then Jones came back in, just like the Eagles did on Thursday against the Patriots, with Tanner McKee and Will Grier. But yeah, I mean, Emory Jones looked pretty solid considering he got 1 snap last week. And I just, again, for me, if I'm the Ravens coaching staff, I need to see Josh Johnson a 3rd time for the tiebreaker to see which game actually was real. Because he's all up here on the 2nd game. Wasn't that great on the 1st one. So I don't know. I know he's a veteran, but still. For the Falcons, I mean, I don't think there was much to see in this game in terms of quarterback play. They know who their 2 guys are. Probably going to keep Heineke, I would expect, as well. McClellan led the game in rushing. Good for him. 6th round pick this year. Didn't expect him to really make the roster, but good showing. 5 yards per carry on 11 touches and a touchdown. Chris Blair, my guy, former DC Defenders receiver, led the game in receiving, 4 for 91 on 5 targets. Big, long touchdown from Emory Jones to Dayton Wade. He had a good day. And defensively, there wasn't a ton of statistics. So I'm just going to go with the two guys that stood out the most. Natrone Brooks, guy led the game in tackles. He's a UFL guy coming in from the Michigan Panthers. Excellent day for him. And he showed off that he could return punts as well. And then Trenton Simpson, expected to be the starter beside Roquan this year on that Baltimore defense. He had a good day, just a couple tackles, but he got in the backfield and broke up a pass as well. Falcons did cover. I guess good teams win, great teams cover, though, right? So plus 2.5 for Atlanta, under 34.5. The Bears 3-0 in the preseason. Look at them. And they have been crushing people. Like, absolutely. Other than the Hall of Fame game that got ended early, I mean, they demolished the Bills last week, 33-6. And now they kill the Bengals 27-3. I know, it's the preseason. And they're playing, some starters versus backups, whatever the mix is. Some teams aren't playing their starters, as was the case here in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow did not play, and neither did most of the starters. But still, I mean, it's impressive showing. Caleb Williams, you don't love the completion percentage, right? He's only 50% for the preseason. I think he's 10 of 20 or something like that. But, yes, you don't love that. But some of the throws he's making, and he's running with his legs, and you saw the Tyreek tweet, right? He looks like ... someone I know.
And yeah, Mike White.
That's the thing. Though. That was my comp. When I looked at Caleb Williams' film at USC the last 2 seasons. It's Mahomes. Like that's how he plays. The off-schedule plays, the ability to move outside the pocket and still complete throws. The accuracy hasn't been there in the preseason, but obviously it's limited reps, and we don't know what he's looked like in the joint practices other than what we see on Hard Knocks, which he's looked pretty good on Hard Knocks. But yeah, I mean that was my comp for him coming out of the draft this year, and so far on the field he's living up to it. Obviously, haven't played any regular season games, haven't seen any exotic defenses, but he's doing what he should be doing right now with the hype that he has. Go on your Caleb Williams hate rant.
Oh, I don't have a rant. I mean, he has impressive highlights. I'll give him that. The problem is, obviously, with the completion percentage. I've seen a lot of things that in his game that remind me too much of Justin Fields. Like, he'll scramble and keep his head down. That Fields did a lot. Like, that touchdown he had was really impressive athletically. But then you look at it and go, like, wow, he, ducked his head. He ducked behind the line, his offensive line. He didn't look downfield. He just ran in circles a lot. But, I mean, it was a good play. He got a touchdown out of it. So, objectively, it's good. But, I mean, again, I think Mahomes is a decent comparison because Mahomes coming out of college was also kind of that way. He would scramble. He would make exciting plays. But also, you would look at his underlying numbers and be like, oh, man, it's not super efficient. He has to work on efficiency. And I believe Caleb Williams will absolutely get more efficient with reps, with coaching, and just, more game time out there. But yeah, I mean, he's very raw. I think his stat line and what we saw on TV really proves it. He's able to make those throws on the run that get you really excited. He's able to scramble and avoid pressure, and extend plays, which is something gets a lot of people excited. But at the same time, it's like, hey, you got to make those throws. You can't be an NFL QB that completes less than 50% of your throws. You can't be an NFL QB with a sub 70 QB rating. And I mean, he'll get better. I'm not going to deny it, but let's pump the brakes a little bit is all I'll say about Caleb Williams. He is clay that definitely needs to be molded, but he's really good clay is the best way I'd put it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know if we're going to see him this week or not. I wouldn't put him out there if I'm Coach Eberflus, just by what he's seen. Obviously, like you said, though, more reps, more time on the field. You're going to improve on your needed areas there. So we'll see.
Is the next preseason game for the Bears at home?
It should be. Their first two are on the road. The regular ones.
Okay, if it's at home, he's gonna play a drive if they're playing at home. But I think that's it. I think they'll just give him a drive.
Or no, it's not, because they're or no, this one was at Chicago.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah.
If next week's not at home.
Yeah, no, they're in Kansas City. They're in Kansas.
Yeah, I don't think he'll play. I think it'd be smart just to leave him out. At most, he does a drive.
Yeah.
I was thinking if it was in Chicago, they'd give him a drive just for the fans and just one more little bit of rep in front of the fans. But yeah, on the road, maybe plays, but probably leaning towards not.
Yeah, it was interesting for the Bengals. No Joe Burrow, no Jake Browning either in this game. So the top two QBs not playing. Logan Woodside got a lot of run. Didn't do a lot. Threw 2 picks. Wasn't that great. My boy Rocky Lombardi got in as well. He lost a fumble, which was good, great. And Tyson Bagent looked really good. 7 of 8, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's what you want to see out of your number one backup option for Caleb Williams. Khalil Herbert led the game in rushing, 31 yards on 5 carries. Dante Pettis, how about the big game for him? 3 catches, 53 yards, 2 touchdowns on 3 targets. Limited spots left on the Bears receiving depth chart. So I don't know. Pettis is a guy that I could potentially see making the team, depending on if they keep 5 or 6. I think if they keep 6, definitely he should be on the team, just because we know from his history, he can play special teams. He can return punts, kicks, and whatever they need him to do, as well as play receiver. So I think that'd be a good option as a 6. And defensively, how about I'm going to go with the bottom guy there. Bears defensive end Daniel Hardy having himself a good preseason. 4 tackles, 3 solos, a sack, 2 tackle spots, 2 QB hits. I know for Logan's sake, I got to shout out the guy that led the game in tackles, though. He led the game in tackles last week for the Bengals as well. Maema Njongmeta, the linebacker from where else? Wisco. The Badges. Okay. Bears minus 6.5 cover, under 36.5. Over bettors are hating on the Bengals. Texans 28-10 over the Giants. And if you're a Giants fan, I am very sorry, sir. The people out there.
I mean, this is just pathetic at this point. He's playing worse than like third string undrafted rookies out there. It's bad.
The pick 6 to Jalen Petrie was bad.
Oh,
horrendous. I mean, you're on the right hash in the end zone. and you're going to throw it outside the numbers to the left side of the field. Late for one. But yeah, I mean, that was horrendous under pressure and throwing it late outside, a long ball. Easy pickings for Jalen Petrie. And yeah, I didn't really see the second interception, but yeah, I mean that's why the Giants were researching quarterbacks this offseason, and they didn't do anything at the position other than sign Drew Lock, who didn't look that great last week anyways and didn't play in this game because he was dinged up. So yeah, Giants better play Daniel Jones week 3 because I could not imagine going into the season with this being his only performance of the preseason. For the Texans, it was status quo, man. CJ Stroud, pretty solid, 70%, 88 yards. No scores for him on the day. But, I would say Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, looked good, but at the same time he didn't. He lost a fumble. So, good game for Case Keenum. 53.8%, 73 yards, touchdown. Kind of an improvement for him. He's kind of been up and down this preseason. J.J. Taylor, late in the game in rushing, 5 for 36. Good day for Texans rookie running back British Brooks. 2 touchdowns on 5 totes for 23 yards. Devin Singletary did get into the end zone for the Giants, his first time with New York. And how about the game for John Mechie? 6 for 68 and touchdown on 7 targets. Guy you want to root for as he tries to make the team. Crazy. He's got to make the team. Just a couple years after being I think he was a 3rd round pick. Can't remember, 2nd or 3rd. But had the cancer his rookie year, and then got injured as well and whatnot. So he's battling for one of the last couple receiver spots now that they're loaded up on that position. And then defensively, I mean, it's Jalen Petrie. It's actually Petrie and Stingley. The starting duo there at safety and corner for Houston is really good. And Petrie, 2 tackles, a solo, tackle for loss, pass deflection, 5-yard pick 6, and then Stingley a tackle. It was a solo, 3 pass deflections, and a pick as well. Texans, -2.5. Covered under 39.5. The Lions getting it done in Kansas City, 24-23. Once again, no starters for Detroit. So Nate Sudfeld got the first half and up and down, I guess. Did score a touchdown, but threw a pick. Hendon Hooker, pretty good, 80%. Scored a rushing touchdown, did have a fumble. But I don't know. If I'm the Lions, I'm making Hooker the backup. I don't know. I have not seen enough from Sudfeld to say that, like he's looked definitely better than Hooker has. Hooker had the concussion preseason week 1, got back in time for this game though, and looked solid. So, for one, he's a second-year player, so he has a lot more upside. And for 2, hell of a lot more cheaper on a rookie contract. So that's why I would take Hendon Hooker. And he's so much more mobile than Sudfeld is. So Pat Mahomes, good efficient day for him. 57.1%, 93 yards, and the throw that everyone's talking about, the behind the back Travis Kelce. I mean, I don't really have anything to say about it. It was a Pat Mahomes type throw, and I did kind of laugh though when he said why he did it because Travis ran the wrong route and he was pissed at him, so he threw it behind his back.
He's the only guy in this entire league that could honestly get away with it and not get in trouble with his coach. Be like, yeah, I just won 2 straight Super Bowls. This is the preseason. I can do whatever the hell I want. Yeah. If I get pissed and want to throw it at my guy behind my back, between my legs, while doing a backflip with a cigarette in my mouth, I'll do it because I've won 2 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah, and I will say Carson Wentz hasn't been that great for Kansas City in the preseason, but thing is, he doesn't have any competition. Like Chris Oladokun,
Ian Book right there.
Chris Oladokun and Ian Book are just not gonna win the job over Carson Wentz, especially since they're paying Carson Wentz so much already. He did throw a touchdown on one of his 5 completions, but just 31 yards total there. So can Deneric Prince make this roster? 7 carries, 47 yards, 7-yard reception as well. What is it about Chiefs undrafted rookies at running back that they just flourish? I don't know why.
Yeah, they draft one in the first round a few years ago in Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then everyone that comes out that is undrafted just automatically plays better than him.
Yeah, my boy Carson Steele, I know I saw a tweet about him rolling through the Lions defenders on the one play. I'd hope he makes the roster, but he's more of a fullback in the NFL. Isaiah Williams, that's one of my guys. That's one of my undrafted guys I'm really high on. Isaiah Williams, Illinois, 6 for 71 on 8 targets. Really hope he can make the Lions roster. I've said it before, dude. I mean, the Lions' depth at receiver is not great. So I think Williams got a good chance. Caden Davis caught a touchdown for Detroit. Cornell Powell and the rookie first rounder, Xavier Worthy, catching a touchdown as well. That one coming from Carson Wentz, though. Defensively, there was not any statistics, really. So I'm going to go with Lions linebacker Mitchell Agood. 4 tackles, all solos, 2 tackles for loss, and a QB hit. Lions plus 9.5. Dude, how did I not see that line? I would have smashed that. Plus 9.5. Over 37.5. Your Vikes 2-0, baby. They're rolling.
Woo! Preseason
27-12 over the Browns. They did screw me in this game, which I already texted you about. I had the under. I thought the Browns defense would have actually played like they didn't. And just like, Josh Johnson in Baltimore, it was 10 more incompletions for Nick Mullins, but Nick Mullins still played like freaking Joe Namath out there. So, yeah, I don't know. The Browns defense was absolutely atrocious for most of the day. So, obviously, it's Mullins' show. I would expect, anyways. I mean, Jaron Hall, can he come? Can he beat him out for the
good?
He did throw 2 touchdowns on 4 completions this game.
Talk about efficiency.
Yeah. And he had a perfect passer rating. So there you go. I was kind of impressed. DTR had a much better game than last week for Cleveland. Obviously they don't have a competition there for the backup job. They're giving it to Jameis. But there is a competition for the third job if they keep 3. And I thought both guys did a solid job, both Huntley and DTR. The biggest issue, they each threw a red zone interception. Huntley threw 2 picks on the day, and that really hampered the Browns' offense most of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So Myles Gaskin had a good day. 9 carries, 45 yards, leading the game. 2 catches for 10 yards as well. It was kind of annoying. The Browns announcers kept talking about Deontay Foreman, and then you look at his stat line, they're like talking about him every single time he ran the ball. And then I'm like, bro, I come back to this. I'm like, bro, 1.8 yards per carry. Great day for Deontay Foreman. I was thinking about drafting him late, but not anymore.
No. Decent receiver, though.
Yeah, he had a good receiving day. Something you don't see from him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Vikings wide receiver Jayshon Jones led the game in receiving with just 1 catch. 71-yard touchdown bomb on 2 targets.
Oh, yeah.
And Tristan Jackson going to make this team, man?
Oh, absolutely.
A great preseason.
His camp has been great. His preseason has been great. I think him and Powell will probably be 3 and 4. Maybe Sherfield will get in there. I don't know. Sherfield has kind of been up and down this preseason in camp, but like Tristan Jackson, immediately became JJ's favorite receiver during training camp, and then it's just translated right into the preseason, and it's working out.
Yep, back-to-back games with a touchdown, 3 for 39 on 4 targets. Malik Knowles, 1 yard touchdown reception for Cleveland as well, or Minnesota, I should say. Defense. There is a ton of defense in this game. I'm gonna go. I guess I'm gonna go with the top guy. Your former first-round pick there, Lewis Seen. George Bulldog, go Dogs. 11 tackles, 5 of them solo, sack, tackle for loss, pass deflection, 2 QB hits, and a pick. But I will also say, Browns defensive tackle Chris Williams has been having a good preseason as well. He's shown up in both of their games. Big game in this one, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. The Vikes plus 2.5 for one outright over 33.5. This was the opposite of an over game. The Bills 9-3 over the Steelers. Good Lord, this quarterback situation in Pittsburgh is something, is a sight to behold. I mean, I thought it was going to look good. It was tough for one because it was raining in Pittsburgh most of the game. But the thing is, Russ is still efficient. Everyone's making it out. I mean, the offense didn't look great, but he still completed 80%, 47 yards. Not that good, but still, the offensive line didn't protect him at all. He got sacked 3 times. And yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot of opportunity to throw down the field. He did get the one throw down the field. It's just a little bit out of bounds, and Pickens couldn't keep his feet in. Made a hell of a catch, but couldn't get the feet down. And from Fields, I thought there was a little bit more energy in the offense, but then he was playing against backups, right? And what really pissed me off about the play calling when they were playing Justin Fields, they had fourth down. Steelers were 0 for 3 on 4th down in this game. I think all 3 of them were on Fields' drives. The first one they did was they were inside the 30-yard line or something like that, inside the 20 maybe. 4th and 1. They ran a read option. I'm like, bro, everyone in their mother knows that this is going to be a read option. The Bills obviously knew it. The linebacker didn't really move down the line to get the running back and went right at Fields. They stacked him up for a 5-yard loss, turnover on downs. I'm like, dude, why? Why would you call that? Everyone knows it's coming. and it's different than when it was like Cam, right? Because the Panthers called read options with Cam or like QB powers with Cam. Everyone knew it was coming, but I don't know what it was about Cam. Like he had a different running style that like he would get it no matter what. And Justin Fields just, I don't know. He thinks he's too fast that he can get outside people or what. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that was horrendous play calling for Arthur Smith on most of the fourth down calls. But other than that, I thought Fields moved the ball down the field. Obviously, he can run the ball. It's what he's been doing his whole career. He just can't throw the ball. So, and that's also I kind of wonder if it's a trust thing. Like fourth and one, can we trust Justin Fields to actually throw the ball? It's a big question mark in my book. So I don't know. There's a lot of people calling for Fields to be the starter. I don't think it's over yet. We got one more game to go, and I liked the argument for Russ because Russ even said in his post game he's still not 100%. He's like, if I was 100%, like I would have played better, obviously. So I don't know. We'll see. You got anything on the Steelers QB mess?
Good luck. That's all I have to say. I mean, I think Russ is just the obvious option at this point. But I would not be surprised if they flipped him out at some point in the season just to get a more, just a different look on offense. I think Pittsburgh's going to really be looking into drafting a QB very soon in the first round. Maybe even trading him.
Baby, Carson Beck.
Carson Beck, maybe. I don't know. It's just, I hope they're not going to give themselves cold feet after the Kenny Pickett debacle. But, I mean, you got to try again eventually. Russ and Fields, I'm sorry, just doesn't inspire that confidence. Like, this is a team that wants to compete, and neither of these QBs really do that for you right now, nor in the long term.
This year, we're going to be 9-8 and draft in the middle of the draft.
Again, it's the biggest problem with a team the biggest problem with Pittsburgh is that they were always above 500 when they had a franchise QB in Roethlisberger. But the problem is when you're stuck at perpetually above 500 without a franchise QB, I mean, you're just screwed because you can't get that top QB talent unless you make a dramatic trade up. And you're just hoping that maybe you have a Mahomes situation where you have a huge project QB drop it to you in that mid-first round and you can, create something. But, a Mahomes-like pick or Lamar Jackson-like pick happens once maybe every 6-7 drafts if you're lucky.
Tom Brady's coming out of retirement. I'm starting the rumor mill now.
No, he's coming to Minnesota.
All right. Bills didn't play anyone. They were expected to play Josh Allen. Then it started raining, and Coach McDermott's like, "Nah, bro, you're out. We're not putting you out on a wet field," which is smart. Ray Davis, the rookie, Kentucky, he led the game in rushing, was really good. 8 carries, 58 yards. I got pissed during the game. The Steelers couldn't stop the run. I was like, bro, like, what is this defense right now? Des Fitzpatrick, he led the game in receiving, 32 yards on 2 receptions on both of his targets. And defensively, there's a lot of stats. Greg Rousseau absolutely demolished the Steelers' offensive line. 4 tackles, 3 solos, 2.5 sacks, 2 tackle swaps, 3 QB hits. And my guy, Nick Herbig, man, he's coming for a great season. Year 2, oh my God, he's about to dominate as the third pass rusher behind Highsmith and Watt. This man had a great rookie season, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a 3-headed monster in Pittsburgh at the outside linebacker position. Also a Wisconsin Badger, by the way. The Bills plus 2.5 won outright under 37.5. This was pretty much the same game as the Steelers game. No starters. for either side in this one, unlike the Steelers game. But it was field goal city most of the night. 5 field goals for the Jets, 2 for the Panthers. They scored a touchdown at the end to make it a little closer. Uninspired quarterback play for most of the night. I did like Jack Plummer. I know. 11 completions, only 42 yards. I understand.
Check down merchant.
But I thought, being a rookie quarterback, I thought he did look much improved from preseason week 1. Preseason week 1, he got killed. The Patriots played their starters, and the offensive line could not handle that. The backup O-lineman could not handle that. This one, I can't remember. The Jets didn't play any starters, I don't think, either side of the ball. So more his speed as an undrafted rookie guy. And I thought Plummer looked more comfortable back there, and was able to have a better day and not turn the ball over, which was a big key. I was impressed by Dylan Johnson. Dylan Johnson's a guy I really liked. I was surprised that the Titans didn't hold on to him. He originally signed with the Titans as an undrafted free agent out of Washington. But, yeah, I mean, he had a great night. 18 carries, 83 yards, a touchdown, 2 catches for 0 yards, but did score the touchdown at the end, fighting during the final couple seconds to make it into the end zone. Jets wide receiver Lance McCutcheon led the game in receiving, 2 for 25 on 2 targets. And defensively, there wasn't a lot, but I'm going to go with Panthers defensive tackle TJ Smith, 2 tackles, a solo, 1 solo, sack, tackle for loss, pass selection, QB hit. Jets plus 2.5 went outright under 31.5. I knew the under. I was leaning the under in that game, but I was like, bro, 31.5. Like, I'm not playing 31.5. If you played 31.5, anyone out there, you are a sicko. Just saying. Dolphins 13-6 over the Commanders. We just love points here, don't we, guys? In the preseason. Yeah, so Jaden Daniels got some news today about Jaden Daniels. Officially announces a starter for Washington. So, and I mean, he played like it. Ultra efficient. 10 of 12. 83.3%. 78 yards. 2 carries for 13 yards as well. I think they got a touchdown, but they missed the extra point on his drive. Or maybe they got a field goal. 2 field goals on his 2 drives, I think. Something like that. I don't know. But anyways, much deserved. I didn't think Marcus Mariota was really going to give him any run anyways. They brought him in just to be a mentor to Jaden, and Mariota he didn't play last week, I don't think, either. Or no, he did a little bit, I think. Didn't play in this one, though. For the Dolphins, they have a backup QB job going on, competition, and dude, I don't know. I mean, it's Mike White and Skylar Thompson. I mean, it's a bad versus bad in my mind. It's not going well. The Dolphins, just like they were a couple years ago, are royally screwed if Tua goes down. Tua, by the way, looked awesome. 5 of 5, 51 yards, touchdown. Hard to beat that. My guy Trace McSorley, he almost got the Commanders to tie or win the game. Got him down there at the end, but couldn't convert on 4th down, and did throw a pick during the day. But he had just signed to the roster, so it was a pretty good day for him based off that. Chris Brooks led the game in rushing for the Dolphins, 5 for 63, and a 9-yard reception. Eric Ezukanma, he led the game in receiving for Miami, 5 for 65 on 7 targets. Touchdown from Tua going to River Craycraft. And defensively, I'm going to go with Commanders linebacker Jamin Davis. 1 tackle. It was a solo sack, tackle for loss, pass deflection, 2 QB hits. Dolphins -4.5 covered, under 36.5. Colts 21-13 over the Cards. No starters for either side. So, and Indy didn't play their backup. Joe Flacco has yet to play in the preseason. So maybe we'll see good old Joe in preseason week 3. Probably not, though. I would not expect him to be out there. He's too brittle. He might break if he steps on the field. But yeah, I mean, it was an efficient day for most of the quarterbacks in this game. I was impressed by Jason Bean. He had a really good day despite the interception. And Keaton Slovis was good. Clayton Tune was pretty good as well for Arizona. I mean, I don't know. I know they traded for Desmond Ridder, but in 2 games, I don't think I've been very impressed by Desmond Ridder. And I don't remember how Clayton Tune played week 1, but, he did play really well in this game. So I don't know if they're having an open competition for that backup spot or not, but I would at least entertain it in preseason week 3. Xavier Scott, he has looked really good in the preseason for Indianapolis. 11 carries, 55 yards, a touchdown in this one. We got to see Trey Benson a good amount for all those fantasy guys out there. 9 carries, 43 yards. Looks pretty solid. Dynasty draft and redraft leagues. I don't know. Redraft, he's a tough draft this year. I don't know if anyone will draft him in redraft unless you're just handcuffing James Conner. But definitely Dynasty, he's a guy you should have. Tyler Goodson scored for the Colts. Laquan Treadwell. How about Laquan Treadwell? He's looked really good this preseason. He's in a tough situation, though. I just think there's not enough spots on Indy for him to make it there. But I do think he's played well enough that he should be somewhere, whether that's on a practice squad or an active roster. But I think he does have a home somewhere in the league, just, based off how well he's played this preseason. 7 for 72 on 7 targets. And defensively, pretty solid day for Cardinals' second-year linebacker Cameron Thomas. 4 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. Colts +2.5, win outright, under 35.5. Titans 16-15 over the Seahawks. And I bet our guy John Babington's been happy, man. Sam Howell's looked really good in his preseason debut for Seattle so far. Two solid games. This one 78.6%, 153, a touchdown, 2 carries, 11 yards. So yeah, I mean it seems like they have potentially a guy, after Geno. I know you've been calling for Geno's head this whole offseason. So
Listen, I haven't been calling for his head. I'm just calling out reality here. Not a long-term guy.
Maybe Sam Howell's the guy.
Maybe. He's younger. I mean, preferably, I think this team would rather try to draft a guy. But, I mean, who knows?
Well, Michael Penix went too early.
Yeah, that's true. I have a weird feeling Seattle was high on Michael Penix.
Yeah, I mean, Penix, he wouldn't have even had to move.
Exactly.
Go from Washington to Seattle. For the Titans, Will Levis did not play in this game. But how about Mason Rudolph? Mason Rudolph had a really good day. So did Malik Willis, technically. 75% for Willis. Did throw an interception, but Mason Rudolph's the guy that won him the game. He threw a touchdown, and he drove him down to get the game-winning field goal with a couple of great throws. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to keep 3. I think they're only going to keep 2 in Tennessee, and it's going to be Levis and Willis. PJ Walker did not look good once again. Back-to-back weeks of PJ not looking great, so Seattle's keeping 2. Kenny McIntosh, my guy, go Dogs. Georgia running back, undrafted, 8 carries, 46 yards, 2 catches for 17 yards. Jaquan Jackson had a good day for Tennessee, 4 for 57 on 4 targets. Aesop Winston Jr. caught a touchdown from Sam Howell, and Nick Westbrook-Akina catching a score from Mason Rudolph. And defensively, how about the Titans' 7th rounder out of that school with the M and the maize and blue? Jalen Harrell has looked really good. 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. And, I think he's definitely going to make the roster and have a big impact, even as a 7th rounder. Titans plus 1.5 win outright under 35.5. Battle of LA goes to the Rams. 13-9 over the Chargers. And hey, Stetson looked better this week. Threw 3 less interceptions, okay? All right. He looked better. So he had 2 turnovers total, did lose a fumble as well. But I'm telling you, he's improving. He had a whole year off. So it's a lot to get back in. So I would expect he's going to get all of the 3rd preseason game as well, because McVay does not play his starters in the preseason. So, we're going to see another game of Stetson next week. For the Chargers, it has to continue to be, a thought in Jim Harbaugh's mind, like, dude, like Joe Ortiz, like, what quarterbacks are out there that we can get? Like, because, dude, Easton Stick is playing so bad. Back-to-back games, it just has looked terrible. And, Luis Perez played better, but he wasn't that great either. I thought Luis Perez played a lot better last week against the Seahawks. And Max Duggan, interestingly, didn't get any play in this one. But the Chargers had to be. I might put them as number 1 on the list of teams looking at quarterbacks out there, the backup quarterback market, because with Herbert still out right now, which he's expected, to be ready by week 1 with his plantar fascia issue. But it's like you got to have a plan, and Easton Stick just ain't it. Zach Evans, big game for him. 16 carries, 62 yards, leading the way in rushing. Jordan Whittington, dude, I've been impressed. I love Jordan Whittington. 6th rounder out of Texas, 5 for 52 on 8 targets. He's got a good connection with Stetson Bennett, and he's definitely a guy that should make this team as either the 4 or 5, whatever it is. JJ Lapp caught a long touchdown, the game winner. It ended up being when the Rams were down 9-6. And defensively, I'm going to go with Chargers corner Dean Leonard. 2 tackles, both of them solos, 3 pass deflections, and a pick. Rams plus 3.5 went outright under 32.5. Jags getting to 2-0, 20-17 over the Bucks. Dude, Mac Jones is a beast. He's played out of his mind for Jacksonville in both of those games. So maybe everyone was wrong on Mac Jones. Maybe it was just New England sucked, and like Mac Jones actually is good. Maybe.
It's gonna be really funny that the Jacksonville Jaguars have the two best quarterbacks from the 2021 draft, both on their roster. That is just a great thing. Could you imagine sitting here 3 years later and just be telling like Jacksonville, like, hey, you're gonna have the two best QBs from this draft. Wait, two? Yes, both.
We got 2 first rounders, so 16 of 23 for Max, 69.6%, 210, 2 touchdowns, 6 carries, 14 yards. That'll get it done. And he is the main backup now because even though Beathard had those stats, he got hurt during this game. And I believe it's a sort of long-term issue for Beathard. So Mac's going to be the guy behind Trevor Lawrence going forward, at least for the next couple weeks anyways. And, I mean, it makes total sense. As much as I think Jacksonville likes C.J. Beathard because he's been a steady presence and, you know, pretty decent as a backup, you know, you trade a pick, albeit a 6th rounder for Mac. It's tough to just like, you know, trade a pick for a guy and then be like, nah, you're gone. So, plus I think they're keeping 3 anyways. For Tampa, no starters. I believe Kyle Trask got the start and looked better than last week. You know, they only scored 7 points, but Trask was the guy that made that happen. And John Wolford only 50% completion. So I think Trask has a good inside look on the backup spot. Because I think that's the backup comp. I don't recall them having anyone else, right? All right. The Jags running back Gary Brightwell led the game in rushing, 9 for 43, 2 catches for 7 yards. Jags wide receiver Austin Trammell led the game in receiving, 4 for 75 on 5 targets. Touchdowns coming to Bucks wide receiver Cody Thompson. Jags wide receiver Parker Washington, my Penn State guy, he's looked really good this preseason. Going into year 2, ready to step into a little bit of an increased role in offense. Scored a touchdown on his 3 targets. And Brevin Easton also catching a touchdown for the Jags. Defensively, dude, how about the second-year man out of Eastern Michigan? Go Eagles. Linebacker Jose Ramirez for the Bucks. Big day for him. 5 tackles, 4 solos, 3 sacks, 3 tackles lost, 3 QB hits. The Jags, minus 3.5 covered, under 37.5. Cowboys, 27-12 over the Raiders in Vegas there. And, yeah, so Dallas, I guess we'll start out with Dallas. I was impressed. Trey Lance made improvement. You know, last week wasn't that great in LA. But this week, I thought he was really good. You know, kind of showed what the things 49ers might have seen when they went and drafted him 3rd overall. You know, 65.2%, 151 touchdown through the air, 34 rushing yards, and a touchdown as well on the ground. So I was impressed. I was impressed by Trey Lance. Cooper Rush did not do that much, but he's the main guy. They're going to keep him as the second option to Dak. And on Las Vegas' side, I guess we'll just say it now. Gardner Minshew is the guy. And I guess we'll go into that conversation now. I think Antonio Pierce made the wrong decision, flat out. I mean, I think Aiden O'Connell has looked better in the preseason. And I think also there's more upside with Aiden O'Connell being only in year 2. There's a lot higher ceiling. We know what Gardner is. He's not an elite level player. I mean, neither is Aiden O'Connell, but at least you have room for improvement and a lot more years to develop him. Gardner's kind of on the backside of his career now. So I thought it was the wrong decision to make Gardner the starter. I would have went with Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, I don't know if it's right or wrong. It's too safe, in my opinion. I think Pierce went with the safest possible pick, which is just the veteran guy. It's easy just to call the veteran guy the starter week 1. I think that's just easier to explain. But yeah, I just don't get it. I get that they're not competing for a playoff spot. I don't think this team believes it's a playoff team. But that to me just goes more to the argument that it should be O'Connell.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you don't see yourself as a playoff team, you give the young guy a chance. I don't know. The only argument I could see for Gardner Minshew is just it's safer. It's easier to explain to the media and to the higher ups. But other than that, I just don't get it.
Yeah, and I thought also I just blanked. Yeah, I mean, Aiden, I thought also Gardner has done the coming off the bench thing throughout his career. So he's comfortable with it. Now, Aiden obviously had to do that last year. But I don't know. I think Aiden's the better option, and we'll see. Also, like, in terms of a fan base, they talked about it on the broadcast when I was listening to it. How Antonio Pierce said, this is Vegas. Like, we got to put on a show. And if you want to put on a show, like, how can you get your fan base energized about a guy that's been a career backup, being your starting quarterback? So I don't know. That's tough.
This again, I mean, this Raiders team definitely screams a team that really wanted to draft a QB in the first round this year and just didn't have the opportunity to, and are just kind of living with it.
Well, and I think someone mentioned it as well that I've heard just around. Minshew is really at his best when he comes off the bench. Like, when he comes off the bench, everyone's like, oh, Minshew mania time. Like, it's time to go. And he gives you a jolt when he comes off the bench. I just don't see where that jolt's going to come from if he's starting from day one. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Deuce Vaughn, pretty good game for him. 34 yards on 5 carries, led the game in rushing. Trey Tucker continues to have a good preseason with the Raiders. 3 catches, 66 yards on 6 targets. Touchdown for rookie wide receiver Ryan Flournoy out of southeastern Missouri. And touchdown for free agent addition, tight end Harrison Bryant for the Raiders as well. Defensively, how could it not be Cowboys corner Keemon Hall? 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2 pass selections, a 69-yard pick 6 that almost broke me. Almost. It made it this score, right? It made it this score. Or actually, no. It made it 20-12. Because I was like, we need a turnover. The Raiders are driving. Like, I had the under in this game. So I was like, we need a turnover. And then because I was listening to it in my car at this point, most of the game. And I was like, we need a turnover. The Raiders are driving. And I hear it's like, picked off. Keemon Hall. And then I'm like, oh, no. They're like, oh, touchdown. I was like, no. We need a turnover, not the touchdown. And then luckily, though, the Cowboys defense played well the rest of the day. Trey Lance, got in the end zone late, but then the Cowboys held him off in the 2-minute drill and got the win there. Plus 7.5. Cowboys underdogs, big underdogs, winning outright, and under 40.5 hit as well. Yesterday, doubleheader, 49ers 16-10 over the Saints. No starters really for San Francisco. I felt so bad for Brock Purdy. I mean, he got shafted in this game. Like, how are you going to put your starting quarterback out there with no Debo, no Ayuk, no CMC, no Trent Williams, no George Kittle? I mean, dude, why did they? I don't even know why they put him out there. For real, like, it made no sense, and he sucked. Like, accordingly. So, and he was playing against the Saints' first team defense. That was a very questionable decision for me on Kyle Shanahan's part. Mm-hmm. The Saints, though, I thought Derek Carr looked a lot better last week against the Cardinals. Was a tough game for him, but obviously 77.8%, only 47 yards, no scores on his couple of drives, but I don't know. I thought they looked improved on the first team offense there. In terms of the backup quarterback competition, I'm not sure really who has the edge. I mean, I thought it was Spencer Rattler last week, and now this week, Rattler's at 50%, only threw for 27 yards, and he fumbled the ball. And then Jake Haener, a little bit over 50%, 76 yards, no scores for him. But I think this one's going to come down to the wire. And I think they're going to keep all three because they've drafted those two guys the last two drafts. Mm-hmm. So Haener in the 5th last year, Rattler in the 4th this year. For the 49ers backups, how about the Pasternaut? Giving the 49ers fans something to cheer for. Ran in a touchdown, which Jordan Howden looked absolutely atrocious on that play. I cannot understand how you get juked out by Josh Dobbs, but that's just me. But yeah, I mean, Dobbs looked pretty good. I think he still looks totally awkward in a 49ers uniform, but it's not like Jameis in Cleveland. Jameis, when I first saw him in Cleveland, I was like, okay, that actually looks pretty good. But I don't know. I saw Dobbs in a Niners helmet, and it just does not look. It looks weird. I don't know. Jordan Mims led the game in rushing, 10 carries, 37 yards for New Orleans. Taysom Hill scored a touchdown. Jacob Cowing. How about the Niners' other rookie wide receiver that they drafted? He has looked really good, especially in this game. 4 for 51 on 5 targets, leading the game in receiving. And defensively, I'm going to go with 49ers defensive end Alex Barrett. 5 tackles, 3 solos, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a QB hit. 49ers plus 1.5 went outright, under 37.5. And the Broncos. Dude, the Broncos have put up the most points in the NFL through 2 weeks of the preseason. I'm just saying. They have 61 points through 2 games. 27-2 over the Packers. Very, very normal score. Very normal. Yeah, I mean, the Packers looked like crap. Didn't play any of their starters, which I was pissed about, being a Packers +7 bet slip owner. As I ranted to our guy Danny Potter through text message last night. The Packers looked like absolute crap. And they also have a quarterback competition going on for the number 2 spot. Neither guy did anything to help themselves in this game. I got pissed at the Packers early on in the first half, especially the first quarter. They didn't even let Sean Clifford throw the ball. I mean, they were running on like 80% of their plays. So I'm like, how can you even evaluate him if he's not going to throw the ball? And then they finally let him throw the ball in the 2-minute drill, and he got him moving until he threw a pick, unfortunately. But, yeah, I was kind of mad about that, that they didn't let Clifford throw the ball really in the first quarter. And it was questionable decision-making, just game management-wise for Coach LaFleur. I mean, at least 2 instances on 3rd and medium, 3rd and 4 on one, 3rd and 5 on the other one. They ran the ball. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing running on 3rd and medium? And it's not even like they were like running outside. Maybe you can get outside, turn the edge, get some yards, and get the first down. They ran inside zone. Like, what the hell is that call? So, yeah, it was not great all over for the Packers. They did get a safety. That was by Zach Morton, the former San Antonio Brahma. And, okay, so that's the Packers night. Let's get to the real thing that everyone came to see, and it's me talk about my favorite player in the NFL, Bo Nix, baby. He is going to be your week 1 starter for Denver. It hasn't been announced yet, but just like the announcers were saying last night, dude, he's ready. I mean, he has looked super good in both games. And, I mean, this one incompletion, 8 of 9 for 80 yards, a touchdown, 3 carries for 12 yards. I mean, the movement is there. The accuracy is awesome, which is what he's known for. 77.4% completion last year. Has the NCAA all-time completion percentage record by .0083 over Mac Jones. But, dude, I mean, the poise, the accuracy, the athleticism to get outside and run. The one folly he had was he got an inch too far over the line of scrimmage when he threw a touchdown and got it called back for a legal forward pass, and they had to kick a field goal. But he got 10 points on his 2 drives, and I'm telling you, I mean, he looks above and beyond the other quarterbacks, Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson. I mean, I think Denver's got their guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the obvious choice. Stidham and Wilson were brought in specifically to be backups to whoever they drafted. I mean, they didn't bring in a veteran like, I don't know, like Sam Darnold or bring back Russell Wilson or anything like that, specifically because they knew they were drafting the guy they wanted to start.
Yeah, and I think no, that was in the Saints game. Never mind. They were talking about quarterbacks there. But this is what I have envisioned. Obviously it's preseason, but I'm hoping that I'll be saying the same things in the regular season about Bo Nix, because this is what I've talked about since March, February with Bo Nix to the Broncos. It's Sean Payton. What does he look for? He looks for accuracy. He looks for football intelligence. And he's more athletic than what Drew Brees was. So that was my comp for him, was Drew Brees. I mean, yeah. So Broncos -6.5. They covered. Under 38.5. No breaking news. College football. Big loss for the Louisville Cardinals. South Alabama transfer wide receiver Colin Lacey. He's going to be out an extended period of time with an injury. So, yeah, big loss for Louisville and their start to the season. It is that time, just like the NFL, college, where we're monitoring some QB battles in camp. And Boise State, they have named Maddox Madsen as the starter over USC transfer Malachi Nelson. Big news there. Malachi Nelson, former 5-star recruit for USC, and Maddox Madsen, the incumbent there at BSU. And so that's a big deal for Madsen. We're going to get to look at Boise State on Friday when we do the MAC and the Mountain West. Our final 2 conference previews there. And Arizona State, they have named their starter It is Michigan State transfer quarterback Sam Leavitt. So hopefully he will not be leaving anything off the field for ASU this fall. UFL news, the Stallions, they re-signed punter Colby Wadman. Panthers, they re-signed defensive lineman Rondale Carter, big piece in the interior for them. And the Battlehawks, they re-signed offensive lineman Eric Magwood and punter Sterling Hoffrichter. A couple UFL to NFL signings. The Vikings getting in on the UFL action, signing your favorite Viking Stallions quarterback Matt Corral. And just today, Roughnecks wide receiver Justin Hall. Tell everyone about your Matt Corral.
Dude, I texted you right after that safety happened because in the last Viking drive of the game, he got sacked for his safety. All I texted you was, well, rip Matt Corral's Viking career. Man came in, got sacked in the end zone. I was like, man, he is not ready.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll play next week. We'll see.
Hopefully. I mean, he definitely they sent him out there just to see him play. He was signed like 2 days before, so I'm not going to give too much crap, but it was just funny. I was like, man, what a horrible first impression for your new teammate. It's just like, hey, guys, thanks for letting me join. I'm going to give the other team 2 points.
The Colts, they signed Battlehawk center Mike Penishuk. The Jets signed Brahma's defensive tackle Jalen Twyman. The Chargers signed Michigan Panthers linebacker Frank Ginda, and the Steelers just yesterday signing Stallions linebacker Chiava Tizzino. On to NFL news. So, good news for Tennessee. Titans edge rusher Arden Key's 6-game suspension has been overturned. So he will be out there starting opposite of Harold Landry come week 1. Like I wanted to hold off on talking about that when I was talking up Jalen Harrell, because Jalen Harrell was expected to be the guy opposite of Harold Landry early on in the season because of how well he's playing and because of the Key suspension. But now, luckily, he's going to get a little bit more, less spotlight and, a little bit more time to really hone his craft behind those two. Colt McCoy, he has retired. Browns 2010 3rd-round pick, number 85 overall, played with Cleveland 2010-12, 49ers in 2013, the Redskins at the time 14-19, the Giants in 20, and the Cardinals 21-22. Why didn't the Vikings sign him, man? He had a workout last year.
I don't know. Do we like Darnold better?
No,
I'm not gonna lie. He's the only Browns player's jersey I've ever had in my life.
This was last season. He had a workout prior to the 23 season, and the Vikings.
I do remember that. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't like him.
Yeah, he was open apparently to still playing this season, but no one came a calling. But he's got a nice gig, cushy job at NBC Sports. He's going to be an analyst for Big Ten football this season.
I'm going to go on eBay and try to see if I can find the Browns jersey I used to have of him.
The Bills. We will not see Josh Allen anymore until the regular season. The starters, Bills announced starters, not going to play next weekend against the Panthers. Injuries. Giants wide receiver / returner Gunnar Olszewski. He is out 2 to 4 weeks, groin injury. Big blow for the Steelers. Couple big blows, actually. Running back Jalen Warren, hamstring injury. He is out multiple weeks, I would say. Week 1's definitely in doubt for Jalen Warren right now. So hopefully he can be back by week 1. And a blow to the O-line depth. Nate Herbig is out indefinitely. Torn rotator cuff. Might be done for the season. But, yeah, it's a big blow to the O-line depth. And I don't believe Herbig was starting as far as I can remember the Steelers' O-line depth chart right now. If anything, it was at guard, but I think they're going to be okay. I mean, they drafted Mason McCormick from South Dakota State, so and he's looked pretty good in the preseason so far. So, if we have to, put him out there. Three rookies on the O-line. I'm here for it. Why not?
Send
They
them.
got to learn at some point. Unfortunately, it might come at Russell Wilson's expense. Because, yeah, Troy Faltanu's not been that great in the preseason. Just saying. The Bills not playing their starters pretty much because they've had a ton of injuries. And they don't want any of the starters to get injured because all the backups are already getting injured. And those guys are backup quarterback Mitchell Trubisky. He has a knee injury. Wide receiver Marquez Valdes-Scantling has a neck injury. He has a sprained neck, carted off the field the other day in practice. They are both out multiple weeks. And then safety DeMar Hamlin has a hamstring injury. Wide receiver Curtis Samuel has turf toe. They are both considered week to week. So injuries piling up for the Bills. Especially they can't afford. I mean, those two wide receivers, they can't afford to lose those guys. I mean, MVS and Curtis Samuel, I think those were going to be starting guys. So, like, what are the Bills doing now? All right, we're going to put Keon Coleman out there. We're going to put, Dalton Kincaid and the other tight end, Dawson Knox. And then, we're just going to put running backs out there as well, I guess. Because, they don't have anyone else. So it's not great for Buffalo right now at the receiver position with all the injuries. The Cardinals, they released offensive lineman Dennis Daly today. Experienced guy, 37 career starts, so see if he lands anywhere. Good. And there you go. Steelers,
Make the call, Steelers.
There's a veteran guy that has started in the league and has been a really solid backup option, especially on the interior there. So, extensions. The Bengals, they signed kicker Evan McPherson to a 3-year extension through 2027. Never got the financials on that, so I don't know. I would expect he's the highest paid kicker now. I don't know. Maybe not. He's close probably, though. And just one signing to note, it's your Vikings making a splash. Signed Cowboys corner Stephon Gilmore, 1 year, $10 million deal, $7 million guaranteed. How much does he got left, though? That's my question.
I mean, enough for a year, apparently. I like the signing. I mean, after losing two cornerbacks this offseason, two young rookie cornerbacks this offseason, just getting veteran presence in there and just having someone that just knows what they're doing right away. It's a good signing, in my opinion. And if he sucks, then you wash your hands of it.
That's tough to wash your hands of $10 million.
For only one season, it's not much. Kind of live with it.
Yeah, but Justin Simmons only got 8 with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, but does Justin Simmons bring the vibes? I don't think so.
He's younger, I believe.
You're trying to cut holes into my funny argument. Stop it.
He, however, does not have a Defensive Player of the Year award on his mantle. All right. Are you going to be gone? Because we're getting into college football.
I got to get going. So I'll let you take care of the things I don't understand.
I know you understand Notre Dame.
I do. But I also just have not kept up with college football off season the way I do with basically NFL and the other sports that are going on right now. Maybe next year I'll learn.
Yeah.
Have a good
all right, so let's start off FBS Independence here. Like I said in the in the early going of the show. Down to 3. Number 7, Notre Dame is our first team up here. 10-3 last season, hoping to make a playoff bid this year with the expansion. Losses. Quarterback Sam Hartman is on the Commanders. Running back Audric Estime, drafted by the Broncos. Wide receiver Chris Tyree went to Virginia. Wide receiver Rico Flores Jr. went to UCLA. Tight end Holden Stays went to Tennessee. Offensive tackle Joe Alt, drafted by the Chargers. Offensive tackle Blake Fisher, drafted by the Texans. Offensive tackle Michael Carmody went to UCLA. Edge rusher Javante Jean-Baptiste, drafted by the Commanders. Linebacker Maurice Lufau, drafted by the Cowboys. Linebacker J.D. Bertrand is on the Falcons. Corner Cam Hart, drafted by the Chargers. Corner Thomas Harper is on the Chargers as well. Kicker Spencer Schrader is on the Colts. Returning, though, quarterback Steve Angeli, running backs Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, wide receivers Jordan Faison, Jaden Thomas, and Jaden Greathouse, tight end Mitchell Evans, who is absolute stud, offensive tackle Tosh Baker, guard Pat Coogan, nose tackle Howard Cross III, edge rusher Jordan Botello, linebacker Jack Kaiser, also a stud. So is corner Benjamin Morrison, and safety Xavier Watts. And kickers Zach Yaucom. Morrison and Watts are awesome guys. Morrison should be a first-round pick for sure. Transfers, though. Quarterback Riley Leonard from Duke. Quarterback Tyler Buckner from Alabama. Wide receiver Chris Mitchell from FIU. Freshman wide receiver Micah Gilbert. Bo Collins they got from Clemson. Defensive end RJ Oben from Duke. Linebacker Kingston Viliamu Asa is a freshman. Safety Jordan Clark from Arizona State. Safety Rod Hurd II from Northwestern. Punter James Rendell comes in from Australia, RMIT there. And punter William Bartell from Villanova. Kicker Mitch Jeter from South Carolina. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're going to have a shot in Marcus Freeman's squad this year. Riley Leonard is awesome. I loved him at Duke last year, was very high on him. And Chris Mitchell's a great player from FIU. Bo Collins, awesome at Clemson. RJ Oben comes in from Duke, who's really solid. Jordan Clark's a good safety. By the way, that's Ryan Clark's son, former Steelers safety. And Rod Hurd's pretty solid coming from Northwestern as well. So they got some guys on offense and defense. I think they're going to be a good squad, number 7 in the preseason ranking. So let's see what we got. At number 20, Texas A&M. I think it's a tough place to play, but I think they can get A&M early on in the season just because it's week 1. Kyle Field's going to be rocking, but I think Riley Leonard's going to have the upper hand on his old head coach, by the way. Why am I blanking on the Texas A&M head coach? Mike Elko, that's right. I don't know why I was blanking on him. But yeah, so he's going to go up against his old head coach. I think he's going to win that one. So they go 1-0, 2-0 at home against Northern Illinois, 3-0 at Purdue, 4-0 at home against Miami, Ohio, 5-0 at home against Louisville into the week 6 bye, 6-0 at home against Stanford, 7-0 at Georgia Tech, 8-0 at Navy, week 10 bye, and then number 10 FSU comes into Notre Dame. I don't know. I don't really see a loss on this schedule, to be honest. I mean, number 10 FSU, they get it home. They beat Virginia at home. They beat Army at home. Then they go to number 23 USC, who I'm not that high on this year because they're going to get battered in the Big Ten. So it is 12-0. I know, it's crazy, but the schedule's easy. And if they beat all 3 of their ranked teams, I mean, they're in the playoff. It's, even with one loss to one of the 3 ranked teams, I think they're still in the playoff at 11-1. So, yeah, I did not expect that from Notre Dame. But anyways. All right, on to UConn, the Huskies. Jim Mora Jr. here. Losses 3-9 last year. Losses, quarterback Taquan Roberson, Kansas State. Running back Devontae Houston went to East Tennessee State. Wide receiver Cam Ross went to James Madison. Wide receiver Jordan Porter is gone. Tight end Justin Jolly went to NC State. Guard Christian Haynes, drafted by the Seahawks. Defensive end Eric Watts is on the Jets. Linebacker Jackson Mitchell is on the Panthers. Linebacker Noah Plack is gone. Kicker Joe McFadden is in the portal. And kicker Noah Ruelas went to James Madison. Returning for the Huskies, though, running backs Cam Edwards and Victor Rosa, who is awesome. Wide receiver Brett Buckman. Offensive tackles Valentin Sen and Chase Lunt. Center Christopher Fortin. Edge rusher Price Yates. Linebacker Tui Falmoina Brown. Safety Ronte Jones. Safety Malik Dixon Williams. And safety Malachi Bell. They did some good things in the portal. Got quarterback Nick Evers from Wisconsin. Wide receiver Skylar Bell comes with him from Wisconsin. Wide receiver TJ Sheffield from Purdue. Wide receiver Josiah Gathings from Akron, who is a beast. Guard Wes Hoa from Syracuse. Defensive tackle Jaden Simon from Tulsa. Edge rusher Jack Barton from Georgia Tech. Linebacker Julian Simon from Tulsa. Linebacker Aaron Key from Western Kentucky. Corner Reggie Akels from New Mexico State. Corner Javarius Sims from Central Michigan. Punter Connor Stutes from Sacramento State. And kicker Chris Freeman from Indiana. So what I got for the Huskies here, at Maryland, I think they're going to drop that one to the Terps week 1. They do win at home against Merrimack to get to 1-1. At Duke, they lose to get to 1-2. It'll be a tough game, but I think they can beat FAU at home 2-2. They beat Buffalo to get to 3-2. I think they beat Temple as well 4-2. And what's this is the craziest part about UConn's schedule. They play 6 straight home games. So from the end of September to the beginning of November, they are at home the entire time. 2 byes or 1 bye in between there. But yeah, so I have them going into the first bye there, week 7, 4-2. I think they lose against Wake Forest at home to get to 4-3. I think they lose at home against Rice as well. I think Rice is a good squad. So 4-4. They lose at home against Georgia State on a Friday night, 4-5. At UAB to get to 4-6. Week 12 bye at Syracuse, get to 4-7. And at UMass, I think they're the better team. They beat UMass last year in Connecticut. So I'm going to go 5-7 this year for Jim Mora's squad. And technically 1-0 in conference for the FBS Independence, even though it's not a conference. All right, the UMass Minutemen last year 3-9, just like the Huskies. Quarterback Carlos Davis went to Towson. Running back Kayron Lynch Adams went to Michigan State. Running back Greg DeRosier Jr. went to Memphis. Wide receiver George Johnson III went to FAU. Wide receiver Mark Pope is gone, as is tight end Gino Campiati. Defensive tackle Billy Wooden is gone. Linebacker Najee Logan went to Indiana. Safety Juan Lua is in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers there with the CFL. Safety Deshaun Jerkins is gone, and kicker Cameron Carson went to Buffalo. They return quarterback Tyson Fomachan, wide receiver Anthony Simpson, offensive tackle Ethan Mottinger, center Josh Atwood, linebacker Jarrell Johnson, safeties Tyree Powell and Tyler Rudolph, and punter CJ Coladzier. And kicker, punter CJ Coladzier. Transfer portal for UMass. It was a big one, actually. Really big. Running back C.J. Hester from Western Michigan. Running back Brandon Campbell from Houston. Really solid player there. Wide receiver Frank Ladson Jr. from Miami. Wide receiver Sterling Galbon from Jacksonville State. Wide receiver Jacoby Keeney James from Eastern Washington. Wide receiver Keyshawn Brown from Duquesne. Tight end Dominic Mazzotti from San Jose State. Tight end Jalen Lay from Alabama State. Offensive tackle Braden Rome from Cal. Offensive tackle Luke Payton from Columbia. Offensive tackle Jackson King from Georgia. Guard Mal Glenn II from Cincinnati. Guard Benjamin Roy Jr. from UCLA. Guard Paul Ticcio from Georgia Tech. Defensive tackle Tim Grant Randall from Eastern Michigan. Defensive tackle Brandon McElroy from San Diego State. Edge rusher Etinosa Rubin from Georgia Tech. Edge rusher Jalen Hudson from Wake Forest. Linebacker Jadrian Gibbs from Northeast Oklahoma A&M. Corner Arsheen Giles from Sacred Heart. Corner Jayshon Watkins from Tennessee State. And corner Lake Ellis from Bryant. So a lot of FCS flavor there for UMass. Let's see what we got. Will they beat Eastern Michigan? It's a home game, so why not? I'll give them the win there. They lose at Toledo, at Buffalo. They beat Central Connecticut State to get to 2-2. At Miami, Ohio, they lose. It's like the reverse of UConn's schedule for the first 6 on the road. They lose at Miami, Ohio, at NIU. Heavy MAC schedule there for UMass early on. So I have them going 2-4 in the first 6. Then they host number 11 Missouri and get absolutely demolished. 2-5 into the week 8 bye. They beat Wagner 3-5 at Mississippi State. They lose, get to 3-6 into the second bye, week 11. They lose at home against Liberty. Get to 2-8. Or 3-7 there. Yeah, 3-7. And they go to number 1 Georgia and get demolished. 3-8, and they lose against UConn. So I have them going 3-9 once again, with the caveat probably going to be, it could probably be a 2-10 season as well, with the Eastern Michigan game potentially being the flipped one there. All right. Let's go to Conference USA, baby. 10 teams now this season, with the addition of Kennesaw State coming up from being an FCS independent. So start off with the defending Conference USA champs, Liberty, the Flames, 13-1 last year, 8-0 in Conference USA play. Quarterback Jonathan Bennett went to the Citadel. Wide receiver C.J. Daniels went to LSU. Wide receiver Noah Frith. Wide receiver Elijah Smoot. And wide receiver Aaron Bedgood are all gone. Guard Xavier Gadlin went to the Titans. Defensive tackle Kendi Charles went to Duke. Linebacker Tyron Dupree is gone. Corner Preston Hodge went to Colorado. Defensive back Brandon Bishop is gone. And defensive back Kobe Singleton went to Oregon State. Returning for the Flames, quarterback Caden Salter, running backs Quentin Cooley and Billy Lucas, wide receiver Treon Sibley, offensive tackle Jack Tucker, offensive tackle Xavier Gray, guard Jordan White, edge rusher CJ Basil Jr., linebackers Joseph Carter and Jerome Jolly Jr., safeties Quentin Reese and Brylan Green, punter Max Morgan, and kicker Nick Brown. Decent-sized transfer class for the Flames. Quarterback Ryan Berger comes in from Appalachian State, wide receiver Elijah Kanian from Purdue, wide receiver Julian Gray from NC State, wide receiver Tyson Mobley from Coastal Carolina, offensive tackle Jordan Hall from Monmouth, guard John Paul Flores from Louisville, guard Andrew Johnson from Oregon State, center DJ Geth from North Carolina, defensive tackle Mike Jarvis from Wisconsin, linebacker Taylor Jackson from East Carolina, linebacker Jamar Brown from Coastal Carolina, corner Alex Oliver from VMI, corner Dominic Hill from Temple, safety Eldrick Griffin from Tyler Junior College, and punter kicker Colin Carhu from North Greenville. So what does the schedule have in store for the Flames this year? I think they win at home against Campbell week 1 at New Mexico State. I just don't think New Mexico State's going to be as good as they were last year. A lot of changes there with the head coach change. So I'm going to go they beat New Mexico State. I think they beat UTEP. Get to 3-0. They beat ECU 4-0. At Appalachian State, I do think they lose that one, though, to get to 4-1 at week 6 bye. At home against FIU. Now, this is where it is weird. October is an interesting month for this Conference USA. They play games on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All the teams during the month of October. So I think they beat FAIU on a Tuesday, go into the second bye at 5-1. They win at Kennesaw State on a Wednesday. They win at home against Jacksonville State on a back-to-back Wednesday games. They win at Mid-Tennessee. They win at UMass. They beat Western Kentucky because it's at home. They win at Sam Houston on a Friday. So, yeah, I mean, 11-1 once again for the Flames. They were actually 13-0 last year until they lost to Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. But, yeah, 11-1 once again, and that's another 8-0 conference record, I believe. They play 8 games. Yes, 8 games in conference. So let's go to the runner-up last year. The New Mexico State Aggies, our guy John Babington. He'll be listening in for this one. 10-5 last year. Yeah, their schedule was weird. They played 15 games, 13 in the regular season, plus the Conference USA Championship, plus a bowl game. So 7-1 in conference play. Like I said, runner-up in the CUSA Championship game last year. Quarterback Diego Pavia went to Vanderbilt. Running back Star Thomas went to Duke. Wide receiver Jonathan Brady to Cal. Wide receiver Trent Hudson to Mississippi State. Wide receiver Chris Bellamy is gone. Wide receiver Jordan Parker went to Western Michigan. Tight end Eli Stowers went to Vanderbilt. Defensive tackle Sterling Webb to Missouri. Defensive lineman Isaiah Reed is gone. Linebacker Keyshawn Elliott went to Arizona State. Very sad news, corner Andre Selden. He had originally transferred to Utah State, but passed away in the short couple of months that he was there. So prayers out to his family and they're grieving there. Defensive back Miles Rouser went to Arizona State. Defensive back J.J. Derville went to Northern Iowa. Defensive back Reggie Ackles went to UConn. Safety Jordan Vincent went to Utah State. Safety Mekhi Miller went to Cincinnati. And kicker Ethan Albertson is gone as well. They don't return a ton. Running back Monte Watkins. Offensive tackles Shayaz Pete and Cedric Claiborne. Guards AJ Vaipulu and Jacob Golden. Center Kanan Yarrow. Linebacker Buda Piletti. Corner Keontae Glinton. Safety Dylan Early. And punter George Eberly. But new head coach Tony Sanchez comes in. He was the wide receivers coach the last couple of years in at New Mexico State in Las Cruces. So he brought in a huge transfer class. Quarterback Deuce Hogan from Kentucky. Quarterback Santino Marucci from Wake Forest. Running back Seth McGowan from Butler Community College. Wide receiver Latrell Neville from Jones College. Wide receiver Jarique Lowe from Glendale Community College. Wide receiver Kyle McNamara from UTEP. Tight end Hunter Talley from Arkansas. Nose tackle Naki Fahina from UNLV. Nose tackle Ta'avili Tuitama from Snow College. Defensive tackle Matt Lawson from Northwestern. Defensive tackle Justin Beatles from Houston. Defensive end Cale Edwards from Montana. Corner DeCarrick Hobbs from Sam Houston State. Corner Jabril White from Cincinnati. Safety Nick Session from Oklahoma State. Safety DeMarcus Crosby from Sam Houston State. Safety Desmond Hatfield Rushton from American River College. Safety Josiah Cox from Arizona State. Freshman punter Max Dean. Kicker Connor Brooksby from Utah Tech. And kicker Abraham Montano from Fresno State. So, yeah, a lot of turnover for the Aggies this year. Let's see. I just do not think this team's going to be even close to as good as they were last year with all those losses. They do win at home against Southeastern Missouri. They lose at home against Liberty, though, week 2, go to 1-1 at Fresno State. Not sure how the Bulldogs are looking this year, but I'm going to give the Aggies the loss to get to 1-2. I think they lose at Sam Houston as well, 1-3. They lose against New Mexico, 1-4 to start the year into the Week 6 bye. At Jacksonville State on a Wednesday, 1-5. At home against Louisiana Tech on a Tuesday, 1-6. Week 9 bye at FIU on a Tuesday. I think they squeak one out there to get to 2-6. They lose at home against Western Kentucky to get to 2-7. Lose at number 20 Texas A&M to get to 2-8. At Mid Tennessee, I'm going to go 2-9 there, and then at home against UTEP, I think they surprise the Miners and get to 3-9. So the loss of Jerry Kill at head coach is just massive, and the loss of talent, specifically at the quarterback position with Pavia, I think is going to be a massive loss there for the Aggies, and they're going to have to rebuild under Coach Sanchez. So 3-9, and I think I had them going 2-6 in conference play. Yeah, they win at FIU and at home against UTEP. So 2-6 in conference play. All right. Let's go to Jacksonville State. The Gamecocks, 9-4 last year, 6-2 in conference, finished third in CUSA. Quarterback Zion Webb is gone, as is running back Malik Jackson, wide receiver Perry Carter, wide receiver Quentin Lane. Defensive end Chris Hardy went to Ole Miss. Linebacker Quay Drake is gone. Linebacker Larry Worth III went to Arkansas. Defensive back Colby Fuqua and safety Jeremiah Harris are gone. Safety Kikora Tarnu went to West Virginia, and kicker Alan Karajic went to Chattanooga. Returning quarterback Logan Smothers, running back Ron Wiggins, running back Anwar Lewis, wide receiver Michael Petway, wide receiver PJ Wells, tight end Sean Brown, offensive tackle Willow Steen, guard Clay Webb, center Brock Roby, defensive end J-Rock Swain, corner Derek Carter, safety Fred Perry, punter Jack Dawson, and kicker Garrison Ripa. In the portal, the Gamecocks got quarterback Zion Turner from UConn, running back Andrew Paul from Georgia, wide receiver Brandon Spector from Clemson, wide receiver Samario Rudolph from UAB, wide receiver Tavares Dawson from Colorado, wide receiver DeMarcus Lacey from Northern Alabama, offensive tackle Cam Jones from Cincinnati, nose tackle Dylan Brown from Florida State, edge rusher Reginald Hughes from Ole Miss, edge rusher Morvan Joseph from FAU, corner Tyler Bride from Minnesota, corner Chase Alexander, Mississippi Valley State, safety Pat Taylor from Georgia, safety Antonio Carter from Notre Dame, and kicker Julio Macias from Purdue. For the Gamecocks this year, I have them winning at home, I think, against Coastal Carolina on a Thursday. They lose at Louisville to go to 1-1. They beat Eastern Michigan on the road to get to 2-1. I have them beating Southern Miss, I think, to get to 3-1. Into the week 5 bye. They win at Kennesaw State on a Friday, get to 4-1. They beat New Mexico State at home on a Wednesday to get to 5-1 into the week 8 bye. They win against Mid Tennessee on a Wednesday to get to 6-1. They lose at Liberty on a Wednesday to get to 6-2. I think they lose at Louisiana Tech to get to 6-3. They win at home against FIU to get to 7-3. Win at home against Sam Houston State to get to 8-3, and then they lose at Western Kentucky to get to 8-4, sort of like last year, and 3 losses in conference, so 5-3. All right, let's go to the Hilltoppers, Western Kentucky. 8-5 last year, 5-3 in conference, finished 4th. Quarterback Austin Reed is on the Bears. Running back Marquise Stepp and running back Davion Irvin Poindexter are gone. Wide receiver Malachi Corley, drafted by the Jets. Wide receiver Jimmy Holiday went to Louisiana Tech. Linebacker Desmond Baker went to Southern Miss. Defensive back Talik Allen went to Southeastern Louisiana. Defensive back Rome Weber is on Sioux Falls in the IFL. Safety Kendrick Simpkins went to Baylor. Returning for the Hilltoppers, quarterback Caden Veltkamp, running back Elijah Young, wide receiver Dalvin Smith, wide receiver Easton Messer, tight end River Helms, offensive tackles Marshall Jackson and Michael Ondelacy, guards Quintavious Leslie and Wesley Horton, linebackers Kylan Guidry and Sebastian Benjamin, corners Anthony Johnson Jr. and Upton Stout, kicker Lucas Carnero. Transfers, quarterback TJ Finley comes in from Texas State. Running back Jalen Hampton from Elon. Wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson from Alabama State. Wide receiver Demick Starling from Virginia. Wide receiver Bryce Childress from Troy. Offensive tackle Stacey Wilkins from UL Monroe. Offensive tackle Trayvon Taylor from Alabama State. Guard Rodney Newsome Jr. from Itawamba Community College. Guard Blake Austin from Troy. Nose tackle Jaleel Rivera Harvey from Marshall. Defensive end Zach Edwards from Troy. Linebacker Terriance Ellis from Alcorn State. Corner Kent Robinson from Texas A&M. Corner Jamar Mundy from Hutchinson Community College. Corner Jai Eugene Jr. from Tulane. Safety DeMarco Williams from Ole Miss. Safety Devontae Matthews from Nicholls State. Safety Keyshawn Swanson from Troy. Safety Dave Herard from Virginia. Punter Cole Maynard from North Carolina. Punter Riley Stevens from Austin P. And kicker Jackson Smith from Kentucky. So let's see what TJ Finley's got this year. At number 5 Alabama, week 1. That's very difficult. So 0-1. They went against Eastern Kentucky though to get to 1-1. At Mid Tennessee, I'm gonna have them lose that road game. So 1-2. I think they lose against Toledo and at Boston College as well. So 1-4 to start into the week 6 bye, but they pick it up. They win at home against UTEP on a Thursday. They win at Santa Houston State on a Wednesday to get to 3-4 into the week 9 bye. They win at home against Kennesaw State on a Wednesday to get to 4-4. They win at New Mexico State to get to 5-4. They win at home against Louisiana Tech to get to 6-4. They lose at Liberty to get to 6-5, and then I had them beating Jacksonville State at home to get to 7-5. So right where they were last year, essentially. And losses in conference, I had them losing Mid Tennessee, Liberty, and Liberty, I think, were the only two. Because I had them go on 1-3 in non-conference play. So, yeah, so 6-2 in conference. That might get the Hilltoppers to the CUSA Championship. We shall see. All right, Mid Tennessee Blue Raiders here. 4-8 last year, 3-5 in conference, finished 5th in the conference. Wide receiver Elijah Metcalf went to Marshall. Wide receiver Justin Olson to Charlotte. Wide receivers DJ England Chisholm and Zach Dobson are gone. Defensive lineman Quindarius Dunnigan went to Michigan State. Defensive lineman Zaylen Wood to Vanderbilt. Defensive lineman Richard Kinley to Louisville. Linebacker Sam Brumfield to Virginia Tech. Corner Teldrick Ross is gone. Defensive back Jacoby Thomas went to Tennessee, and safety Trey Fluellen is gone as well. The Blue Raiders return quarterback Nicholas Variato, running back Jaden Cradle, running back Frank Peasant, tight end Holden Willis. Off the tackles Morgan Scott and Jayshun Bodiford. Guard Ethan Ellis, center Julius Pierce, linebacker Parker Hughes, corner Tyrell Raby, corner Deary McDonald, punter Trey Turk, and kicker Zeke Rankin. Big transfer class. New head coach Derek Mason comes in from being the Oklahoma State offensive coordinator back in 2022, was out of coaching last year in college anyways. Quarterback Xavier Williams comes in from UCF. Wide receiver Omari Kelly from Auburn. Wide receiver Miles Butler from Central Arkansas. Wide receiver Gamarian Carter from Vanderbilt. Wide receiver Hayes Sutton from Duke. Tight end Ryan Horstkamp from Missouri. Offensive tackle Dumela Knox from College of the Canyons. Offensive tackle Shamar Crawford from Independence Community College. Guard Ellis Adams from Tennessee Tech. Nose tackle James Gillespie from Ventura College. Nose tackle Felix Hickson from South Carolina. Defensive tackle Aiden Merrihew from Reedley College. Edge rusher Andy Nwokwo from Stony Brook. Linebacker Nolan Forsha from Ventura College. Corner James Mons III from Indiana. Corner Abdul Muhammad from El Camino College. Safety Brendan Harris from Wake Forest. Safety John House IV from Vanderbilt. Freshman punter Grant Gadwick there, and New Mexico kicker Zach Benedict from New Mexico. So I am high. I really like Nicholas Badiato. So let's see what we got. They win at home against Tennessee Tech. They go to number 6 Ole Miss and lose. Get to 1-1. I had them beating Western Kentucky to get to 2-1. They lose at home against Duke to get to 2-2. They lose at Memphis to get to 2-3. Into the week 6 bye. I think they win. I think they lose 2-4 at Louisiana Tech on a Thursday. They win at home against Kennesaw State on a Tuesday to get to 3-4. They lose at Jacksonville State on a Wednesday to 3-5. I think they win at UTEP though, get to 4-5. They lose at home against Liberty to get to 4-6 into the week 12 bye. I think I had them beating New Mexico State to get to 5-6, and they win at FIU 6-6. Yeah, so Derek Mason's going bowling. I just really like Nicholas Badiato. I think he's got a good player, and he should be pretty solid this year for the Blue Raiders. And in conference, they went 1-3 non-conference, so it is a 5-3 record in conference this year for the Blue Raiders. All right, to the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, 3-9 last year, 2-6 in conference, finished 6th place. Quarterback Hank Bachmeier went to Wake Forest. Running back Tyree Shelton is gone. Running back Keith Willis Jr. no longer on the team. Running back Jarvis Thornton is gone as well. Wide receiver Smoke Harris plays for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the CFL. Wide receiver Cyrus Allen went to Texas A&M. Wide receiver Kyle Maxwell went to Washington State. Tight end Ryan Rivera is gone. Defensive lineman Deshaun Hall Jr. is gone. Defensive lineman Rayson Williams the second is on the Seahawks. Linebacker Yes Lord Boateng is gone. Linebacker Brevin Randall went to UTSA. Corner Willie Roberts is on the Seahawks. Defensive back Cecil Singleton Jr., safety Miles Hurd are both gone, and kicker Jacob Barnes went to Tulane. They return quarterback Jack Turner, wide receiver True Edwards, guard Bert Hale, guard Jaron Gilbert, edge rusher Jesse Evans, linebacker Zach Zimos, corner Cedric Woods, safety Michael Richard, and kicker Buck Buchanan. Pretty big transfer class for the Bulldogs. Running back Denario Davenport from Texas State. Wide receiver Jimmy Holiday from Western Kentucky. Wide receiver Abdul Fattah Ibrahim from Bowling Green. Wide receiver Jalen McGaughey from Central Michigan. Offensive tackle Daniel Keys from Stephen F. Austin. Offensive tackle Ashanti Cole from Grambling. Center Zarian McGill from UL Monroe. Defensive tackle Travell Vivians from Hinds Community College. Defensive tackle Adam Lamar from Hutchinson Community College. Linebacker C.J. Harris from Kent State. Linebacker Sifa Leota from North Texas. Corner Armani Archie from UConn. Safety Blake Thompson from Iowa State. Safety Pig Cage from UTSA. Safety Jordan Morgan from UNLV. And punter Randy Leavitt from St. George Community College. So what do the Bulldogs got this year? They went at home against Nicholls State week 1 and then have a crazy week 2 bye. Their schedule is crazy. They have 2 of their byes in the first 6 weeks, and then they play 7 straight games. Then they play 8 straight games to end the year. Crazy. So they win at home against Nicholls into the week 2 bye. They lose at number 24 NC State, get to 1-1. I think they're going to lose against Tulsa to get to 1-2. I think FIU actually upsets them 1-3 into the week 6 bye. I had them losing, or no, I had them beating Mid Tennessee actually on a Thursday night. So 2-3 there. At New Mexico State, I think I had them losing on a Tuesday, so 2-4. They win against UTEP on a Tuesday to get to 3-4. They lose at Sam Houston on a Tuesday to get to 3-5. Lose at home against Jacksonville State, 3-6. lose at Western Kentucky, at Arkansas to get to 3-8, and then they win at home against Kennesaw State. I just don't see Kennesaw winning a game. So 4-8 this year for Louisiana Tech, I think. And lone wins coming against Mid Tennessee, UTEP, and Kennesaw. So 3-5 conference record. All right, let's go to the Bearcats. Sam Houston State Bearcats here, 3-9 last year, 2-6 in conference, finished 7th for Casey Healer's squad. Quarterback Keegan Shoemaker, wide receiver Alvante Woodard, defensive lineman Chris Scott, and linebacker Trevor Williams, all gone. Corner DeCarrick Hobbs and defensive back DeMarcus Crosby. They both went to New Mexico State. Returning for the Bearcats, running backs John Gentry and Adrian Murdahl. Wide receivers Noah Smith, Malik Phillips, and Simeon Evans. Offensive tackle Grayson Jackson Smith. Guards Mark Hendrick Beal and James Dawn II. Center Ethan Hagler. Edge rusher Isaiah Nixon. Linebacker Kavion Gaither. Corners Caleb Weaver and Davion Armstead. Punter Jaden Cardell. And kicker Colby Sessoms. They got a pretty big transfer class this year for Keeler's squad. Or actually, it wasn't that big. My bad. I thought it was bigger. But quarterback Jace Bauer from Central Michigan. Quarterback Hunter Watson from Iowa Western Community College. Running back Jay Ducker from Memphis. Offensive tackle Luke Eckert from Iowa Western Community College. Defensive tackle Quincy Wright from Oregon State. Defensive tackle Dylan Frazier from SMU. Corner Joe Swin from Oregon State. Corner Isaiah Cash from Houston Christian. Safety Jalen Jimerson from Liberty. And safety Nike Hawkins from Virginia Tech. So what do the Bearcats got? I think they could be a sneaky team this year. Jace Bauer, decent quarterback at Central Michigan. At Rice, I think they lose, though. I think they lose their first two. At Rice, at UCF. It's tough. I think they upset the Rainbow Warriors, though. 1-2. They lose at home against New Mexico State and at home against Texas State to get to 1-4. I think they lose on the road at UTEP on a Thursday to get to 1-5. Week 7 bye. They lose at home against Western Kentucky on a Wednesday, 1-6. At FIU, I think they go to FIU and upset them on a Tuesday to get to 2-6. And then I had them upset it. I had them beating Louisiana Tech. So 3-6 there on a Tuesday into the week 11 bye. They win at Kennesaw State to get to 4-6, lose at Jacksonville State 4-7, and lose at home against Liberty on a Friday. 4-8 for me and the Sam Houston State Bearcats. Lone conference wins coming against UTEP FIU and Kennesaw, I believe. Yeah. No, I had them beating Louisiana Tech too. So 3-5 conference slate. On to the UTEP Miners. 3-9 last year, 2-6 in conference, finished 8th. Quarterback Gavin Hardison is on the Dolphins. Running back Deion Hankins went to Texas State, as did running back Torrance Burgess Jr. Running back Mike Franklin is currently in the portal. Wide receiver Kelly Akari went to Mississippi State. Wide receiver Jeremiah Ballard to Tulsa. Wide receiver Tyron Smith to Cincinnati. Guard Elijah Klein, drafted by the Bucks. Offensive lineman Justin Myers to Colorado. Edge rusher Kanius Vaughn went to Utah. Edge rusher Praise Amawule is gone. Linebacker Tyrese Knight, drafted by the Seahawks. Linebacker James Neal went to Texas State. Corner Torrey Richardson went to Temple. Safety Kobe Hilton went to Oklahoma State. The Miners return quarterback Cade McConnell. Wide receiver Imari White. Guard Joseph Immediato. Guard Otis Pitts III. Center Ivan Escobar. Edge rusher Maurice Westmoreland. Corner AJ Odom. Safeties Josiah Allen and Oscar Moore. And kicker Buzz Flabiano. New head coach Scotty Walden comes in from Austin P, and he brought with him almost the entire Austin P roster, I swear. Quarterback Skylar Locklear, running back Javon Jackson, running back Cam Thomas, all from Austin P. Running back Corey Wren from TCU. Wide receiver Trey Goodman from Austin P. Wide receiver Jaden Smith from Eastern Kentucky. Wide receiver Ashton Nickelberry and Kenny Odom from Austin P. Offensive tackles Isaiah Wright and Brennan Smith from Austin P. Freshman guards Luca Matamoros and Craig Wydra. And freshman center Jake Riggs. Defensive end Devin Gurry from Missouri State. Linebacker Dorian Hopkins from Tulsa. Linebacker Trey Dunson from Gardner-Webb. Linebacker Jalen Rayam from Mid-Tennessee. Linebacker Dylan Brown-Turner from Florida State. Corner Jalen Shelton from Texas State. Corner Yesman Green from Jacksonville State. Safety Corey Chapman from Austin P. Safety Dillian Williams from North Texas. Safety Xavier Smith from Austin P. Punter Adam Jacklin from North Texas. And freshman kicker Aiden Webb. A lot of Austin P governors on this team. Let's get to the schedule. They lose at Nebraska week 1. They win at home against Southern Utah to get to 1-1. Lose at Liberty, get to 1-2. I think they lose at Colorado State to get to 1-3 as well. Into the week 5 bye. Then they win against Sam Houston State on a Thursday to get to 2-3. They lose at Western Kentucky on a Thursday to get to 2-4. They beat FIU on a Wednesday at home, get to 3-4. They lose at Louisiana Tech on a Tuesday to get to 3-5. I had Mid-Tennessee, I think, beating them. So 3-6. They win at home against Kent State to get to 4-6 into the week 12 bye. At number 15, Tennessee, 4-7. And then at New Mexico State to get to 4-8, I think. And the lone wins in conference, Sam Houston, FIU, Kennesaw, 3-5 in conference. All right. Let's go to the final returning Conference USA team, the FIU Panthers. 4-8 last year, 1-7 in conference, finished 9th in the conference. So quarterback Grayson James went to Boston College. Wide receiver Chris Mitchell to Notre Dame. Wide receiver Jalen Bracey is gone. Linebacker Donovan Manuel is on Jimmy's Vikings. Linebacker Alex Nobles and defensive back Deverick Daniel are both gone as well. They return quarterback Keon Jenkins, running back Shamari Lawrence, running back Kajon Owens, wide receivers Dean Patterson and Eric Rivers, tight end Rocky Beers, offensive tackle Travis Burke, guard Wyatt Lawson, linebacker Reggie Peterson, corners Jamal Potts and Brian Blades II, Hezekiah Masses, safety CJ Christian, punter Dayton Montiel, and kicker Chase Gabriel. Transfer class for the Panthers, wide receiver Nazaviah Burris from Stetson, wide receiver Desna Washington from New Mexico, wide receiver Juju Lewis from Georgia Tech, offensive tackle Ben Schellenbach from Tuscaloosa, center Chad Staley from Stetson, nose tackle Cole Gustafson from American River College, defensive end Giovanni Davis from UT Martin, edge rusher Eddie Walls III from Bethune-Cookman, linebacker Travion Barnes from Georgia Military College, linebacker Dwight Nanu from Dodge City Community College, freshman safety Shamir Sterling, and kicker Alejandro Prado from St. Thomas. So for the FIU Panthers this season, what do I got here? They lose at Indiana. I think they lose at home against Central Michigan. They lose at FIU. They beat Monmouth to get to 1-3. They lose at home against Louisiana Tech to get to 1-4 into the Week 6 bye. They lose at Liberty on a Tuesday to get to 1-7 or 1-5. Lose at UTEP, get to 1-6 on a Wednesday. I think I had FIU beating Sam Houston. So 2-6 here for on a Tuesday for FIU. They lose at home against New Mexico State on a Tuesday to get to 2-7 into the Week 11 bye. Lose at Jacksonville State, get to 2-8 at Kennesaw, though they win to get to 3-8, and they lose at home against Mid Tennessee 3-9 this year. And it is a 1-win non-conference slate, so 2-6 conference record. Wins against Kennesaw, win against Sam Houston. And the lone new member in Conference USA this year, Kennesaw State Owls. 3-6 last year as an FCS independent. Quarterback Jonathan Murphy, wide receiver Isaac Foster are both gone. Defensive back DeAndre Morris went to Georgia Southern. Defensive back Markeith Montgomery and kicker Connor Cummins are both gone as well. They return running backs Michael Benefield and Davis Bryson, wide receivers Gabriel Benyard and Blake Bohannon, tight ends Carson Kent and Preston Daniels, guards JT Pennington and Seaburn Hines, defensive tackle Adam Watkins, linebackers Denelius Johnson and Jalen Barnum, corner Javen Williams, corner Jericho Washington Jr., defensive back Sidney Porter, and punter Joshua Hewitt. In the portal, they got some guys from some big schools. Wide receiver Christian Moss from Virginia Tech, wide receiver Destin Thomas from Memphis, tight end Jackson Manning from UMass, offensive tackle Jacob Kettles from Montana State, offensive tackle Mason Bowers from Coastal Carolina, center Zacchaeus Williams from Holmes Community College, defensive tackle Tylen Dunlap from Georgia State, edge rusher Donovan Westmoreland from South Carolina, safety Chris Townsell from USF, kicker Britton Williams from Georgia Southern, and kicker Austin Welch from Eastern Kentucky. So for the Owls, first season, FBS, I don't know if they're going to win a game. At UTSA, they lose. They lose at home against Louisiana. They lose at San Jose State. 0-3 into the Week 4 bye. I'll have them beat UT Martin. UT Martin's a good team, though. So sure, I'll have them beat UT Martin, give them one win. 1-3 at home against Jacksonville State on a Friday. 1-4 Week 7 bye at Mid Tennessee on a Tuesday. 1-5. Versus Liberty on a Wednesday. 1-6 at Western Kentucky on a Wednesday. 1-7 at UTEP. 1-8. At home against Sam Houston, 1-9. At home against FIU, 1-10. At Louisiana Tech, 1-11. It's tough to make it, and you have to have a good roster, and especially because 0-8 in conference, by the way, and especially because Kennesaw traditionally has ran the triple option. I don't know if they still do that or not, but if they do, that really has not played well in FBS ball. Other than Navy, which has had some good teams, but has not been really good the last couple of years. So I don't think it's going to translate. And I just have a lot of question marks about the Kennesaw State Owls this year. So 1-11, they might go 0-12. Like I said, UT Martin's a good team, perennially ranked in the FCS stat poll. So I think they could be 0-12 potentially. All right, on to preseason week 3. We got 2 games in between the shows on Thursday here. So Colts 1-1, 3-point favorites at the Bengals 0-2. Bengals didn't play Joe Burrow and any of the starters last week. Colts didn't play anyone either. So I expect maybe both of them to play some starters. In that case, I still think the Colts are going to win. It would depend on if Jack Browning is going to play. But I like the Colts. 3 is a little rich for me, so I kind of like Colts money line. And the total is 35.5. I don't know. That's a tough one because of the uncertainty about who's going to play. And I think both starters are going to play. So I would lean on the over, especially the Colts have scored a decent amount of points. The Bengals haven't this preseason. So it's an up and down dynamic. So I would lean on the over, but I'm not playing anything on that. 8 p.m. Prime Video on Thursday. And then the other game we got on Thursday, the 3-0 Chicago Bears looking to finish their perfect preseason. 3-point favorites at Kansas City, who are winless, 0-2. Would expect Patrick Mahomes to play again. Would expect Caleb Williams to play again. So I don't know. I guess go with the Bears. I'm not touching this one, though. The Chiefs have been decent in both their games. Jacksonville game wasn't that great, but last game was against the Lions. So I'm not sure on who's going to win this one. I would lean Chiefs +3, though. Or actually, I would lean Bears money line because they've been so dominant. But total is 34.5. Again, not really comfortable with that line because the Bears have scored so many points. They've scored 60 points in the 2 preseason games, and plus they're 21 in the Hall of Fame. So 81 points in their 3 games. That's a lot. And the Chiefs, I'm not sure. So I would lean on the over, but I'm not going to play it either way. 8:20 p.m. NFL Network on Thursday. And that is the show for today, everyone. Thank you all for watching. Next week it's here, guys. Week 0, college football. We will be talking next week, and that's why we will be getting our college football preview. We do have games to be played on Thursday of week 1, or week 0, I should say. There are a ton of games actually on Thursday between FBS and FCS opponents. There's 2 games on Saturday. Actually, no. All week 0 games are on Saturday. My bad. I should have said that. But yeah, so we got 4 games on week 0, 2 FBS versus FBS matchups to watch. Just a little sprinkle of week 0, but wanted to get our college football playoff and our Heisman picks in before any of the games got played, whether week 0 or week 1. So we'll get you all our picks for those and tell you who we think is going to win the national championship in 2024. So on Friday, we'll finish off our conference previews. The MAC, we got MACtion and the Mountain West, 2 interesting conferences this year. And we'll get you that on Friday and get you back for Heisman and college football playoff on next Monday. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all back on Football Friday.